Tactical Enlightenment's YouTube channel is dedicated towards Bannerlord, and currently we are dedicated to this Aserai campaign. We are getting into the really interesting part of this campaign. I hope this campaign has been interesting so far. There's certainly been a lot of memorable battles and difficult challenges. Cole continues to evolve as a leader and a personality in this campaign. We're toting around a pretty good-sized army, though I think I may trim it down a little bit here. And I'm also considering some strategic goals for this episode. Now, I'm also looking at different companions here. Of course, we need to make sure that we have the right inventory mix. I thought one of our wives that we married in the last episode, or more accurately, a new wife, there we go, Scytha has joined the party. We'll have to look at her inventory here in a minute and just auto-resolve these smaller battles. Of course, we're going to auto-resolve. I will still fight significant battles. I would say anytime the enemy has maybe a 40% or 30% on the power bar, we will run those battles. Or at least for a little while, but we're going to auto-resolve anytime we have 1,300 against 300 here. And strategically in this map here, as we take some prisoners, Cole is starting to think of the old axiom that a good defense, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? We have the Vlandians, legendary raider throwing axes. Might be of some use, although throwing weapons really are weak in Bannerlord. Let's get some equipment here. We're going to continue to sell loot at cities. A lot of this, of course, I'm going to edit out. In fact, I may be editing over the very narration I'm giving right now. That's how I roll with these. I narrate these live, and then sometimes I will go in afterwards and over-narrate my narration. In other words, speed up the whole process with a little fancy editing and then over-narrate this. So we're just going to sell some equipment here. I'm basically going into every single town, and you can picture our guys just dumping all this shit on the tables at the merchant stores saying, how much, right? We'll sell you all this shit. You can take these bent fucking glaives and fucking rusty underwear and shit like that. How much money? You just dump it all over the place here, and we'll take all of the money at these cities. So the Vlandians, of course, in this campaign have become a major factor, a huge, overwhelming factor. Really, they are the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and Cole is planning here an offensive attack on the Vlandians, right? We need to push them away, at least buy us a little bit of time here before we form our own kingdom. Of course, if we form our own kingdom right now, the Vlandians have almost 60 cities and castles. These little quests I'll be doing along the way, and that's because you want to improve relationships with the villages in the area that you have towns. You need to recruit troops, and our army's getting a little bit thin. Right now it's actually in good shape, but we've really vacated a lot of our garrisons to make this offensive sally. This 260-something troops that Cole has, this 1,200 plus troops that we have in our army, is going to get dwindled down, right? And I say that because we're going to try to take a city or two or three, and basically give the Vlandians a big roundhouse punch here, right? They're winning the fight so far, but we're going to try to clock them a little bit. Now, Physion, I think this must be Khazate that's attacking Vlandia, and I don't see an Aserai force there. So that probably is Khazate, which is really interesting because the Khazate are experiencing a resurgence as well in this campaign. The only kingdom that's on life support is the Northern Empire, and for the most part, everybody else is kind of doing okay, right? The Sturgeons are doing well, the Battanians are doing well, the Western Empire is doing well. I guess the Southern Empire is struggling too. They have a few cities, and the Northern Empire is on life support. It looks like there's only one other Aserai army, which is disconcerting because for whatever reason, they're not making armies, right? The Aserai have a lot of forces and they're just not making armies. I know they have enough money and charisma and all the other shit, influence necessary to do it. They're just not making armies. So a little disconcerting there, but we're not too concerned about it right now, right? We've got our war party here. I guess Cole is the best for every position right now. I mean, we'll just leave him in all the positions. He's gaining levels. This will benefit Cole long-term to improve his scouting and engineer. Ultimately, I'm hoping to have a professional scout, right? Probably it'll be a companion, someone that we literally schedule. There's a huge amount of prisoners just released. I do a scoreboard watch. I'm interrupting myself here. It looks like the Battanian and the Western Empire that have been in a long-term feud finally have peace. That'll be interesting to see who they turn their wrath on. The Battanians might even attack us, right? We've had invasions. Actually, we've had Battanian forces fucking siege Danustica, which is really strange, of course, because it's in the southeast portion of the map. So Cole's got his army here, and we're going to march west, right? We're going to try to deal these Vlandians a few savage blows themselves, right? They have been the attacker almost this entire campaign. I'm just kind of hoping the Aserai left there in the homeland deal with some of these threats, but I'm also not too concerned about it. We are only a renta army here for the Aserai. We are going to make our own kingdom. I don't know how soon that's going to be. It's going to be the right moment, right? We're going to definitely pick a moment, and I'm going to try to show you guys what I think is sort of the optimal situation for becoming your own kingdom. What does that mean? Usually it means that the kingdoms around you are somewhat vulnerable or somewhat occupied, right? You don't want to just barrel into independence when your enemy's stacked and marching all around you with huge armies, right? You'll get your ass kicked quickly. Like the American independence, of course, the Revolutionary War of 1776 and through 82 or whatever. One of the reasons it worked for the United States is not only were they an ocean away from the English, but they had the French support, right? It's kind of one of those American-centric things. We're like, oh, yeah, the French helped us in the American Revolution. Another way to look at it is, do you realize that that's the only war that the French won in the 1700s where they had our help? I don't know who that is. Who's this? Sophia? Okay, this is our new wife just gave birth, or she had a kid come to age who's not part of our clan. Evidently, she wants us to celebrate. We don't give a fuck. That person eventually is going to be the enemy here. Little does she know, her daughter is soon going to be, somebody we're attacking and raising their city and shit like that. I'm not doing a whole lot of voting here because I don't have a lot of influence. I'm not really... I'm kind of being hyper non-active with diplomacy in this campaign at this stage. I did a little bit early on trying to say, hey, let's have peace and have war here. And frankly, I just wasted influence because immediately they would turn around and declare war on somebody else the next day. I'm sure I've interrupted myself a few times. So the Vlandians, like, they're a major threat. It's becoming a major problem. We're going to dive in here, right? We're going to try to punish them. But when we do become independent, of course, I will be trying to show you some of the things you can really do to make it more likely that you survive that stage, right? Just like the Americans, you want to have a plan. You want to do some guerrilla warfare, right? You want to be savage with your planning in order to have maximum success. Of course, most of you guys know this, but say this stuff anyways, just in case there are some relatively newer or less experienced players playing. And I've got hours and hours in this campaign in which I'm narrating, so you guys are going to hear some stuff that you already know, right? Surprise, surprise. I will try to keep things fresh, right? We will try to do some history. We will even do some religious history, right? I'm a big religious history enthusiast, I guess is the right word, right? I've studied Martin Luther and the Reformation in great detail. I know all about the Jesuits and the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre and all kinds of other things. So I'll be able to hopefully keep the commentary lively for you fellas while we siege down this Vlandian force. And we will add in some after narration here. This is kind of odd for me. What I did is I clipped together a bunch of scenes and tried to remove some stuff that I just kind of felt was unnecessary to include in these campaign episodes. And so again, this is after narration. I'm just dubbing over the previous narration as we assault the city of Poros here. It is important to take an offensive role early on in Bannerlord, but there's definitely... Oh shit, they're sending big bombs at us here. And we suffered major casualties, of course, because we have a large force here. But it's very vital to have an offensive assault in your campaign. That way the enemy's sort of on their back foot. Now, there's a time to be defensive, but if you're too defensive, of course, they just wear you down. Of course, picking up javelins here, we continue to sort of sit by our men and throw javelins. We're power leveling Cole here, right? This guy needs a lot of his skills improved, and a lot of his skills are going to rocket. They're going to go through the roof. Part of the reason is that he came of age literally at level 33 or something like that, right? So this guy came out of the chute already throwing javelins like Achilles, and of course his skill set, you can look down every single kill. He's gaining skill points and athletics and shit like that. That's because he has 8 or 9 focus points, or attribute points rather, and 5 focus points. So the city of Poros is a pretty easy take for us here, right? We just smashed aside these peasants, suffered very minimal casualties, and victory was achieved. Now, these cities, it's pretty unlikely we're going to get voted to be the governor of these, right? There's a number of different factors that goes into what makes you the governor, or not the governor, but what makes you the clan that gets voted the city. And I don't fully know all those yet. I know I've had some tips. Some guys say it has to do with proximity to your other cities. I've experienced that, but I've also experienced a lot of random shit happening as well. So it's a little bit of an unknown. It's a little bit of a nebulous system. But ultimately, if we keep taking cities and castles, we are going to get voted some of these, and so we're going to kind of do this by quantity, right? We're going to barrel our way through here, annihilate these fucking forces here. I don't always fight these, but I just kind of felt like the first one of these, as Cole goes on his crusade, you know, he would fight his way all the way through, right? Cole is a young guy, right? He wants to see combat up close. He's one of those guys that still thinks war is a beautiful thing, and so we're getting him into the thick of it. Of course, we're trying to protect him as well. We don't need him to get killed a month and a half after being in charge. So this was important to show you. Kulharn came of age, right? This is, I think, the third son of Wazoo. And look at that savage motherfucker, right? This guy's got a mohawk with the ponytail, whatever that's called. There's probably some cool name for it, some cool cultural name. This guy is probably going to be our scout, but he's also going to be a savage warrior, right? We're going to make this guy probably a two-handed axe guy, and then I'm unsure if I'm going to give him javelins or bows. I'd like a few more guys that shoot arrows in the campaign, in the army. I think it's important to have a nice mix, partly because they become good captains of an archery division, for example, but also like a keep defense. If you have all javelin throwers, it becomes a detriment, right? You start to run into issues where they run out of javelins, and then it's very hard to defend. If you got a nice mix, then you can handle most situations with the plume. So sieging down the city here again. This is Zeonica. We are working our way west, right? This is a series of different assaults we're making. Now we're losing troops. You notice the number there, 1,068. That's because each one of these cities, and unless you have a mod that affects it, you cannot stop them from putting troops in the garrison. Worse than that is that these cities are not likely to be voted for us. So we're putting troops into cities that are becoming part of the Aserai forces. This is highly suboptimal. Of course, if they're voted for you, you then have access to all those troops, and it's a benefit. But most of the time, you take cities in this situation. We have 1,076 troops. You can see Cole has 265. Now, his troops I have control over, but the companions are readily donating troops to the garrison, right? It's sort of the AI saying, oh shit, we just took a city. We need to defend this, so let's dump a bunch of troops in there. There are ways around it. Right? It'll even do that if you just visit a city. If you have your army, say it's you and 3 companions, and you guys just visit a city that's highly undefended, maybe there's 40 people in the garrison, your troops will dump a bunch of their troops without your permission into this city. Now, there may be a mod or even a newer version of Bannerlord where this is not the case, but the version I'm playing right now, and I'm not going to change, 1.28.31530, it basically has this little unfortunate effect, right, where your troops very readily give their troops up to other garrisons. So one of the things you can do, of course, if you're visiting a town and you know it's likely to happen, say the garrison is small and you're just visiting the town to buy some food or play in a tournament or whatever, you can dump your companion armies right outside the gate and then enter the city. And as soon as you leave the city, you then re-add them to your army. Right. The reason I'm showing you this portion of the siege here is mostly so that I can include this little after narration. I do want to sort of pass on these little nuggets that may help you guys, especially on the console, get through the myriad of different, shall we call them, unfortunate parts of Bannerlord. Right. A lot of people would say they're dog shit, fucking bad programming. It is what it is. Now we continue to run the battle size mod. I'm going to run it as long as it's stable. As long as I don't get complaints from guys, and as long as it's stable. Because look at these fucking glorious battlefields, right? We have all this beautiful scenery and sunshine and troops aplenty, right? We have a massive army, and so it should look like a massive army on the battlefield, right? These guys are coming up to the gate, and it looks like barbarian hordes at the gate, right? Hundreds of archers and javelin throwers are assailing this city. All right, up we come here, and no enemy can survive the walls, right? You see every single murder hole is being absolutely shellacked with bolts and arrows and javelins. You wouldn't have this effect under the normal settings. We might have 400 or 500 attackers. Instead, we have like 1,000 or 1,200, and it looks like an army, right? It's this vast battlefield covered in troops. Now, they're all spread out. I do that because, of course, the enemy's firing fire catapults at you, and if they're all compacted, you lose scores every single time. So hopefully not a whole lot of suspense here is missing from guys, right? This is a city defended by 800 or 900 again. We shoved our way through. We advanced troops in here. This part I did want to show you, though. Anytime you have this option, and not this option here, the enemy was simply rallying troops. I think it happens in a minute if I remember what editing I did. Again, I edit these and then I come in and after narrate them. But anytime you have fire catapults that the enemy has abandoned, you want to go to right to those, right? Now here I was just trying to fight my way up to the top of this tower to see if there were fire catapults. And the enemy looked like they were hell-bent on defending the wall here against the siege tower. I couldn't even get up there. Well, all these fucks rushed by me like they were trying to get Nike shoes, you know, the latest Nike shoes or something like that. But up here, there were these two guys defending this catapult, right? And once we pushed our way past these fucking militia, these guys defending as hard as they could, up here are these beautiful fireballs, right? These, I guess they're simulating sort of Greek fire or whatever. These grenades here are immensely valuable as an attacker too, right? They're very, very valuable, essential almost as a defender, but as an attacker, they're valuable as well. If you can aim these well, you can kill the enemy en masse, right? Kaboom. Now, of course, there I killed several of my troops, just like his father. Cole is a little bit careless, especially around his troops, and the way he looks at it is simply raw efficiency, right? If he can kill some of our own troops with some of theirs, not only is the enemy dying, but then we don't have to pay those guys, right? Just like Edward the Longshanks and Braveheart. You know, won't we hit our own men? Yes, sir, but send the Irish. The dead cost nothing, right? Basically, he's saying don't use the archers. Arrows cost money. Send in the Irish because the dead cost nothing. Unfortunately, a lot of war leaders throughout history have felt this way. Now look at this giant packed mass of troops coming in here, right? And kaboom, right? The whole screen, that one fireball makes it worthwhile for us to run back and forth to that tower. I mean, if you get a better location than this, you can rack up hundreds of kills. So this should be a priority for you. Identify it. And then, of course, this happened too. He got drilled by a fucking catapult. Drilled by one of our own siege trebuchets. Fortunately, he wasn't killed. The little funny things that happened to you in your Bannerlord campaign are still happening to me, right? Just blindsided and killed by friendly fire. So another easy take here, right? Our forces blasted their way through this. This was Zeonica, and just blasted through this process as well. And I don't think I showed it, but we actually did get voted in as governor of Poros, which is a huge benefit. All of those troops that we put in the garrison there sort of inadvertently, we will be able to double back and take some of those troops. And of course, it's nice to add another city to our revenues, nice to add another city to our tiny little fiefdom within the Aserai culture. Of course, buying more food, all of that kind of normal stuff. You'll always see me selling as much loot as possible because we need gold. They've been long-term rivals. I mean, the French and the English had really been rivals for hundreds of years. And the French had really been beaten back for quite a while. It was really Louis XIV where the French reached their ascendancy, but by the end of his reign in the early 1700s, the English really turned things on its side, right? Part of the reason they did this was the financial revolution. Maybe that's something I can talk about when I have more time. But effectively, France started to lose its edge over England, over the other continental powers in the 1700s. And in some ways, France wanted revenge by about the 1760s, the 7-Year War, that whole process, the French-Indian War. The French had really sort of been beaten back by English forces. And with the American Revolution, by supporting it, I think French powers saw it as a way to sort of get back at the English, to sort of restrict some of English sway across the globe, and also a little tiny bit of revenge, right? For Louis XV, it was a way to avenge some of the losses at some of the critical battles of the early 1700s. The French really did give the Americans enormous support, and I don't think most Americans today acknowledge that. It's really unfortunate when the French people didn't support the Americans during the what was it, not the Desert Storm, but the war of Afghanistan after 9/11. There were all kinds of anti-French people in the United States. They refused to call them French fries anymore. They call them fucking freedom fries, which is fucking stupid. But basically, it was the notion that French people were disliked the Americans because the French were this weak, traitorous nation that never really helped America. Well, obviously, you can really say that the United States exists today only because of French help. I mean, at the Battle of Saratoga, I think it was the Battle of Saratoga, I think I read 4 out of 5 French 4 out of 5 Americans, rather, had French muskets. 4 out of 5. And all of the gunpowder and cannon were supplied by the French, right? So you could really argue one of the most decisive battles of the Revolutionary War, the French were totally necessary for Americans to win, right? Absolutely vital for American success. Of course, they did other things like blockading ports. The French Navy was inferior at that stage to the English, but it didn't mean they didn't have ships, right? And especially on the American East Coast, they would do things like attack and blockade English ships. We've got some Vlandians finally responding here. I guess I should not leave the campaign too bereft here. We continue to siege here. I don't think we'll go beyond Jalmarys. In fact, it looks like a confrontation is brewing here. Hopefully we can siege this down before we get attacked. But anyways, the point of all that is it's very unfortunate that Americans, it's one of those cases of what have you done for me lately? The French people in the French country were intimately related, and not related is probably the wrong word, but intimate friends and allies of the American people, right? Our assistants. Is this fucking guy coming to attack? You're a dead man if you do.
Halt there.
Halt there. Halt there. This guy sounds like a German. Halt there. Halt. Achtung. Okay, so this guy wants some. For some reason, these guys are about to get completely annihilated. My little political, philosophical rambling will have to wait. It's necessary. Actually, this battle is probably going to be so easy I might not need to talk tactics, but I guess you guys deserve to hear tactics. You guys are watching Tactical Enlightenment, not Historical Enlightenment. So we will break off our historical musings here to engage this insolent piece of shit Vlandian force. Now, I better not take them too lightly. The Vlandians have consistently elite troops in this campaign, elite enemy lords. I suppose that's part of the reason they attacked here. I mean, if we're role-playing, we would say the Vlandians just consider us slop and an easy trouncing. So maybe that's why they attacked here. I mean, we outnumber them, and they came to attack. Well, come get some, bitches. We've got our shock troops, 118 troops in our 3rd Corps, and we're going to fucking obliterate this Vlandian force. Got the 4th, 5th, 6th. All the normal divisions here. The 4th and 5th are archer, crossbow divisions. The 7th is horse archers. The 8th is a mix of jav, cav, and horse archers. And we're ready to obliterate some Vlandians, right? This would be another feather in Cole's cap, right? So far, he's been basically shoving the shit in on the Vlandians. And it's time for another little tactical view for you guys here. Let's do an inner circle of hell defense. This is a strategy I've developed to deal with heavy cavalry-laden armies. We've enacted it a few times so far in the campaign, but this is a good battlefield for it. I can get crossbow and horse archers set off to the side. I don't know if I'll put... Yeah, I guess we can put the archers in the center of the ring here with shock troops. That must have been a sharpshooter. He already drilled me for a quarter of my health. The skirmishers can be inside the ring as well. And the idea with this is that we have a huge line of defense here with infantry and cavalry in a ring. And it's going to slow down enemy cav charges and or horse archers like these insolent fucks here. I use that word too much. Like these fucking bootlicking... I gotta come up with some better words, right? You guys like some words when we're trash talking here. These fucking piece of shit Vlandians, sack of shit motherfuckers, sons of bitches, puta madre Vlandians. We're gonna swear in some multiple different languages here. But these cav will charge our ring here if they charge. Of course, they're playing defensive now, but they will charge and be dramatically slowed down by our infantry wall in the front. Okay, here their cav comes. I had to kind of goad it into battle. Maybe they're not... Okay, they have a lot more archers and infantry than they've had in any battle so far. That's probably why they're not boring in. So the inner circle of hell may need to wait for another episode. We could still try to enact it, and it is versatile. You can still use this against enemy infantry blocks. In fact, I think I'll try to show you how to do that. It's not nearly as effective. It's much more designed. It's much more tactically appropriate for a large army of horse archers or cav, right? And these guys do have a little bit of both, but this would be much more effective against the Khazate. So a little bit of skirmishing here. The Vlandians are very foolishly, of course, sending up their cavalry and horse archers on their own, which is a horrific strategy, right? You always want to attack with your units in conjunction, attack in combination. The enemy here is doing us a nice favor here by just slaughtering. They're self-slaughtering their cavalry. They're just sending them in here to be slaughtered. For a while in this campaign, the Vlandians have acted like battlefield gods. Right here, they're acting like absolute fucking dipshit, donkey, unprofessional fucks. Okay, so some cav is charging the core here in the center, so we'll be able to at least show you a little edge of this. You charge at the first. Look at their cav is totally stood up at the line there. And the other thing, too, is if they have horse archers, your ring protects you all the way around. If cav charge you from behind, a lot of times cavalry will charge you and then go through your formations and attack you from behind. The ring protects you from behind as well. Now, the goal is to keep our infantry in the square. The 3rd Division shock troops and the skirmishers are all in here, protected by horse meat, right? This huge ring of cavalry creates almost like an arena for us to destroy the enemy in, right? God damn it. I command for a second there, and I lose a quarter of my health. I'm looking forward to getting this whole character all decked out in high-end armor, getting him some hit points so he's not so fragile. And then we can fight a little bit more. This Vlandian force really does seem to want to skirmish at range, which is they're not going to win that war. We've got horse archers, we've got a lot of archers. It's not as many archers as I'd like to have, but on the flip side, I'm sort of role-playing that Cole likes more shock troops, right? He has a little bit of a disdain for fighting at range. He kind of finds it cowardly. He's going to be swinging his axe with these shock troops, and I think you're going to see some dynamic use of shock troops in this campaign. At least I hope to. Now, the enemy is going to break and charge us soon. And if you don't know the game mechanics, if the enemy's in a defensive position like this, some of our units are getting a little carried away here. If the enemy's in a defensive position like this and you do enough damage to their units, it doesn't even have to be the infantry and archers themselves. If you damage enough of their troops, the rest of their troops will break out of their defensive position and charge you, even if they're the ones that are being attacked, right? In other words, if they're the defensive kingdom, they will charge you. It does look like they're starting to move forward. Well, they're being so defensive here. I think we're going to be the ones that take to the aggression here. A lot of guys express an interest in seeing me be more offensive, be more aggressive. So battles like this, look at this dipshit. He's like, forward, and then he runs. You stupid dipshit. Oh, God. You guys have expressed an interest in seeing an aggressive Cole, right? You're going to see it. So 1st and 2nd Cavalry towards the front. We hold the center in place. On the flanks, of course, we're going to bore in on the enemy. Most of this should be elementary, but I'm going to explain it anyways. Right? We're going to tell the infantry and center to charge, right? Because I want these guys advancing. Meanwhile, the 2 different flanks, we start to encircle the enemy, and we're going to take Cav all the way behind the enemy here, right? This 8th Corps... or this is the 2nd Corps. I'm going to drag these guys all the way behind the enemy here. That way the enemy's archers have a giant fucking horse in their face. Nobody's going to be shooting on the enemy's side, right? They're just going to be getting slaughtered and clobbered by different infantry. Now, on the far side there, we're charging with the 7th and 8th. The 8th Corps we're going to drag towards us, right? So that all of these units can converge basically at the back of the enemy. You can see their crossbow right here trying to get room to shoot, and they're running right into fucking heavy cav, right? The cav is going to come tearing through here, and now the rest of our forces arrive. This cav division's a little bit late, but it's still going to be effective. You can see our troops now completely surround the enemy, and this infantry is just being trucked by our infantry division. I can't believe this Vlandian force actually initiated combat here. I mean, they had absolutely no chance of winning here. This was just a 0%. And in the future, I may not show you all these battles, or I may show you excerpts. I do understand that this might be a 500-hour campaign for me, the player, and I'm not going to make, what would it be, 500 episodes, right? We're not going to have 500 episodes of this for the channel. Nobody will watch. So it may be 50 or 70 episodes or something like that for this epic campaign, but I will condense some of this, right? We're not going to show you. You don't need to see that again, right? You've already seen us destroy a force roughly equal in size, and it was no contest, right? They just get completely flooded and overwhelmed by our tactics. Now, if we F1, F3 this battle, we'd still win, but I bet we'd suffer 400 or 500 casualties. With tactics, we probably suffered a quarter of that, maybe a third of that, 150 would be my guess. And 81, 140, 139, right? So this is the value of tactics. It lets you sustain your army. And now we can continue on with our siege, right? We were busy here at the siege. Of course, we're gaining perk points like crazy. But now we'll take these prisoners, come with us, and now we can continue our siege here. We're going to take some sharpshooter prisoners. I'm eager to have 40 to 60 sharpshooters long-term in the army. That's a very long-term goal. We won't see that anytime soon. But the people who want to see me run an all Aserai force, sorry fellas, it's not happening in this campaign. Not with the difficulty level we're playing it at. We're playing it at insane difficulty. You know how Teslas have like an insane mode? Well, this is insane difficulty to try to take on all of these mature kingdoms with massively steroided enemy lords. And we have our little kingdom here going to be forming after all these kingdoms have already been mature for 20 years. It's going to be hard enough. Plus, I like to play between the different cultures. Now we're going to be, oh shit, we got some goings-ons here. I might rush this siege just because of these Vlandian forces. This is a lot of Vlandian forces. We have one siege tower, I think. If this looks like a good opportunity, I think we're just going to fight this. That Vlandian force is coming. Now that we're injured, it's kind of a poor game mechanic. I think we'll just roll with this. Let's just try to take it now. The power bar heavily favors us, and it's a bad game mechanic here. Even with the reinforcement system, I don't think the Vlandians would enter this battle. I think they would see it as a situation they couldn't win, which is unfortunate because, of course, what happens with you in a campaign is when the enemy's sieging a castle, you're allowed to just wait and watch the siege wear them down, and then once the enemy's worn down, you can then attack. That's why I've given the enemy so many advantages in this series, because they have a lot of disadvantages. I mean, I'd love to see it where 15 minutes into the siege, right, you get a message on the screen that says 1,500 Vlandians are attacking, and behind our sieging forces here, there's just a whole bunch of heavy cab pouring in as sharpshooters and fucking Vlandian pikemen. This fucking stupid ass fucking line of sight. I just want to like chop this to bits. You fucking piece of shit. Sometimes Cole lets his anger get the best of him, right? Where the fuck are these ladders? They've got their ladders like camouflaged here. Would you guys paint them the color of grass? Here they are. They're like invisible. I can't even fucking find it. Stupid fucks. But alas, right, we don't get that. You can't have the Vlandians backdoor us here. How it basically works, you guys already know this, but it's unfortunate. Even though the Vlandians are right there, we're able to execute this entire siege, and they can't stop us. Not only that, but then we're safely inside the city. They can't even attack us outside it. It's quite a snafu from a strategic perspective, right? Because ordinarily, if there's a huge force coming up while you're sieging a city, that would be a major oh fuck moment, right? Think of the Turks at the siege. What was it? The fourth siege of Vienna or whatever in 1683, where I can't remember which one was it. I'm sure you guys will remind me. The amazing Polish leader, was it Sobieski? Whoever it was, there was an amazing Polish leader that led a lot of the Vatican forces and totally mangled the Turks that were sieging Vienna. Of course, they weren't prepared for it. A lot of the Turks literally had like their harem all laid out, and they built gardens all around their siege camp and shit like that. They just didn't think there was any chance that the enemy would attack. And in they came with like 20-something thousand cavalry, and it was one of the most devastating cavalry charges in human history, right? It was a massive slaughter, and I think it was the next day the Turks fled the field. Hopefully I'm not fucking up some of these. Maybe it was the Ottomans. You guys are, I'm sure, especially the fellas from that corner of the world, if you guys are like, well, that's a very Americanized perception of that battle, well, apologies, but I'm American. So please feel free to enlighten me, right? But please keep it friendly. Don't be like, hey, you stupid Western fucking American imperialistic fuck. Here's the actual history, and you mispronounced his name. Help me learn, but do so in a positive manner, right? Otherwise, all you're doing is just adding to the fucking cesspool of the internet, right? Let's be positive on this channel. I'm not going to censor anybody unless you guys are being racist, right? You guys are going to see me allow some jostling and some communication, some friendly spirited debate, we'll call it, but please keep it friendly. Please keep it clean. That way we can have a positive community here where people want to come learn about history, and they want to learn about your culture, whether you're Armenian or whether you're from Afghanistan or wherever it is, right? There's all kinds of different people that visit this channel. Literally, it's an international community. So please be creative and be loving, right? I believe that all people are effectively brothers. I'm not like a Marxist or something like that. I just think it's unfortunate that all these human beings with this Eden to live in can't live in peace. At least we're going to try to live in peace on the channel here, right? Either that or I will start making an impact on the channel, right? I'll censor people or whatever. If guys especially are being overly, well, even just significantly racist, I will block you or ban you or whatever I have to do. Hopefully none of that is necessary. You guys all seem like a spirited, enlightened lot, right? The enlightened folks are usually not racist. We're going to be brothers here and all learn a little bit as we experience this thing called life. All right, this siege is going pretty well, but they're making a concerted effort here to try to stop us from getting to this tower. Fucking assholes. But I've got this nice batch of shock troops here. This is a really interesting city. In a way, I wish they would have attacked us inside the city here, because this is a city I have very little experience defending. Even though I have something like 30 episodes for the Epic Siege series where we're marching around Calradia defending all these unique cities, I have never made an episode on Jalmarys, and I've only had a couple of defenses here, and I think they were custom battles. Well, Cole fights to the death here. Let's see, cannot issue orders while dead. In we go here, and this battle at this stage is a formality. And like I said, right, the Vlandians that are outside here, 1,500 strong. It looks like a huge force. They're not going to be able to do anything about this, right? We just totally raped their city and they can't stop us. It's an unfortunate game mechanic. And we'll see. Maybe they'll siege us. That would be fine with me, right? We will take a siege here. If not, maybe we'll meet them in the open field. We've got probably 800 or 900 troops after we stock the garrison here, so we shall see. But 3 cities in a row here where we have just taken it and kicked the teeth in of the Vlandians here, right? I think we've got their attention. They're starting to send major armies in our direction, and it's only the start. Now, of course, Cole's not going to rampage to the edge of the Vlandia map. We're running out of resources here, right? Our army is getting stretched thin. Every beautiful city here we take, we're putting garrisons, we're putting troops in the garrison, and it takes time to replenish those units. Yeah, what a cool looking city. Hopefully we get attacked here. This will be a really interesting city to defend. We got this little retreated to the keep thing here. This I'll just auto-resolve. In fact, I have to auto-resolve because my character's unconscious here. Pick up some prisoners here, and it's time to sell some loot. It's time to see the next phase of this. We're going to head home soon. I was not planning on conquering the whole Vlandian territory here, right? We're running low on resources. I might even just abandon these cities. But I wanted to get the Vlandians' attention. I wanted to apply some pressure. We pillaged their city here. We're going to let all the women go, right? We're anti-rapists. This is a feminist Cole, right? We're going to treat women incredibly well. Chivalry's not dead, but those Vlandians sure are. 1,000 plus coming here. And this campaign is just starting to hit its stride, fellas. I'm going to take a little break here, but hopefully you are enjoying this shit. It's getting gnarly. Huge enemy forces are starting to pour in, and major battle is inevitable. Cole is maturing into quite the warlord here, but the enemy is lined up like a conveyor belt, all saying basically they got next in this campaign. So, of course, you want to subscribe, fellas, if you want to see more from the channel. I appreciate you guys. Please leave comments, especially friendly comments. Again, please keep it friendly. Even if it's critique of my game, you can say you did this wrong, you did that wrong. Please refrain from telling guys that they don't know what they're talking about. They're stupid, stuff like that, right? Do it in a creative way, and communication then is always much more effective. If you just tell guys they're a stupid fuck, they're doing it wrong, you stupid fuck, not only are they not going to... Rayma's given birth. How beautiful is that, right? We're out here. She's killing people and then giving birth like the same day. Another superhero woman. So things are definitely going well. But I think it's time to wrap this episode up. We'll see here. I'm going to take a little break, and we'll see what this Vlandian force does. Right now, they're just raiding a village. Fucking scum Vlandians. We'll take this moment to enjoy the birth of another child here for Cole. Now, these children, again, are probably not going to factor in this campaign. I would have to probably stall another 10 years for these children to come to age. But always encouraging, right, to see our men and women producing future mass murderers, right? I'm not sure if the women realize that or agree with that, but that is the reality of it right here, right? These boys, this is a boy, Arlek, is definitely going to be a future mass murderer for the clan. Okay, let's max some riding skills here. Get this perk here. This will increase his damage and maneuvering and shit like that. That's a nice perk to add, the final riding skill. Now, where did these guys go? I had to take a piss. That's something that happens when you get to my age, fellas. You piss like 8 times a day. Of course, I drink too much caffeine. Here we go. Yeah, come get some. We're eager for these Vlandians to fight. I mean, they have lots of armies coming, and those are big armies joining the main army. I mean, that's going to be 2,300. But we've got a bunch of defenders in here, and I relish a good siege. Now, we got our shit pushed in at Askar City. That was Mata, though. This is a different leader, right? This is a more savage, aggressive leader than Mata. So we shall see. There's another army coming. So we'll see. 2,800. Oh shit, I just realized I'm the siege boss. I got to make these siege weapons. Of course, we don't have the fire catapults yet because we don't have 150 siege, right? Cole is still learning. More Vlandians coming in. 3,000 now. And hopefully we didn't bite off more than we can chew here. Obviously, we'll be captured if we lose this siege. You can't get away. But we have 1,300 defenders. There's a little bit of militia, and it's mostly troops. So we're going to have a lot of high-end troops for this. Hopefully we can destroy these Vlandian forces. We might even keep advancing. Oh shit, they're building trebuchets. Oh my god, they're destroying our catapults in one shot. Kill that fucking thing. And they're building another one. This is ominous. Of course, this is a low-level city. It's probably a tier 1 or maybe a tier 2. And I just realized not only maybe we might starve, but that's another factor I just realized about the strength in AI. Guess what? These fucking lords have like 250 to 300 siege skills. That means they're going to be badass at building siege. They're going to build siege in a hurry. It's going to be very accurate, very destructive, and they are laying waste to our catapults. Of course, it's kind of like a siege battle, right? It's like you've seen the movie The Last of the Mohicans, where the French outmaneuver. Oh no, it's the English that which one is it? Yeah, the French outmaneuver the English, or more accurately, they have better siege. I can't remember the guy's name. Man, it was a really cool historical battle too. The ford of St. Henry or whatever it was. Anyways, we're losing this siege war here, and I'm afraid they're going to blow a hole in the wall here. If they blow a hole in the wall here, we may be fucked. Okay, they're launching their attack. We have one catapult, but at least they didn't blow any holes in the walls. So we shall see here. My army disbanded by accident. I've really kind of stubbed my toe here. Hopefully it doesn't cost us our entire army. Of course, it'll erase all of the progress we've made here, right?
Sergeants, take command!
Now, they defeated us. Holy shit. They're just dumping us in here. Of course, we don't get any time to set up. And I'm not real familiar with this siege. I've defended this a couple times for practice in the custom battle menu. All I remember is that it's a convoluted maze of walls, and the stairways are complicated. And of course, I'm not getting any time here to look over the castle. I'm just being dumped in the middle of the night. I mean, they might as well throw acid in my eye and blindfold me here. They're not doing me any favors, that's for sure. Of course, it doesn't make any sense. We've been sitting in this town now for how many days, right? Like multiple 3-4 days being sieged. I guess they're just simulating we were like, I don't know, baking bread with the cooks. And oh, hey, there's a siege going on, Commander. Would you like to go out? Yeah, sure. Would you like to tour the walls beforehand? Nah, let's just throw us right into it. That's no problem. But one of the many hundreds of illogical things with Tale Worlds. So just trying to orient myself here. There's hordes of troops everywhere I go. I feel like I'm in a bad subway dream. I'm just going to put all my units right here and try to consolidate them, right? Like a kid whose room is too messy, you just throw all the toilet toys into one big pile and try to organize them, start from scratch. There's all kinds of interior defensive structures to this city. On the surface, theoretically, it's a good defensive city, but I don't have much experience here, and I don't really like putting guys on walls. You guys know that. This is not the best siege for me. So I think we have one catapult. Okay, we got one catapult up there raining down fireballs. That's good. Maybe they can kill the ram. or this siege tower. There's a siege tower coming up over here, so this seems like a priority. The right side seems a lot more vulnerable because of that siege tower. Look at this shit. It's just like a Walmart Zerg. A bunch of fucking cruise line motherfuckers pouring up the ladderway. You can't even move. Look at this. Oh, you know what? Shit. These are my troops. I'm causing a massive traffic jam. This is Shades of Wazoo, where he caused a huge traffic jam at Razi. In one of the cutscenes at the very beginning of this whole campaign, Wazoo caused a huge traffic jam in Razi, and the city fell. This is very much familiar, right? Like father, like son, I guess. Okay, so I can put some archers here. I'm gonna probably bifurcate my units here. There's so many troops here. I don't even feel like I can go down there. Maybe we can jump off of one of these accesses and get down there easier. I got troops everywhere. Let's put some here. I'm just sort of scrambling. If it sounds like I have no idea what I'm doing, that's exactly what's going on. I really am just kind of. I can't jump over there. I really am kind of flying by the seat of my pants. Now, the good thing is that we have a bunch of troops here, and critically, the ally, and normally this is not good, but critically, the ally is at least doing something, right? In Siege, the defenders do a decent, not great job, but they do a decent job of kind of jamming up the walls and making it so that the enemy can't get in quickly. Now, my units are in the way here, so I've created this traffic jam. I'm going to try to unsnarl this shit. I feel like that guy who saw, you know, an incredible set of Hooters, some gal waving a sign or something like that, and then crashed his car and caused a giant pile up on the back on the highway. Some ignoble shit going on here. There's hordes of troops. It's actually kind of a mess. Like, I can't tell who's who or which is our guys. But the good thing is, when it comes to heavy blows, we're going to have all these troops to fall back on. With the battle size mod, there's a good chance that we have 800 or 900 troops on the battlefield, and the enemy has, 1,200. Something like that. The ratios will be something. I don't look at it mid-battle. You guys are just going to have to forgive me. Forgive me, because I'm not going to change how I do that. The walls are all blown up here because of their siege. In fact, they're lighting me on fire. Motherfuckers. These, I think, are ladders over here. I don't see a siege tower. The catapult's up here, though, so let's man this shit. Let's fire some lethal fucking catapult rounds out there. There's no fireballs, but these little stone things, they, like, catch fire when they hit the air and shit like that. They do a pretty decent job. They really do look like little balls of yarn or something like that. They look like they're made out of textiles, and then they just catch fire as soon as you launch them. The wife is gaining levels. Actually, you know what? I can't say that anymore. Our mom is gaining levels. How weird is that, right? Anybody's like, when they want to make an insult and be like, your mom, dude, and be like, yeah, Arwa, she'll kick your ass. Don't make fun of my mom. She'll stomp the shit out of you. She's got like 260 one-handed and shit like that. It's always nice to have a badass mom, right? I think all of us wish we had a warrior mom. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys have a legitimate badass warrior mom, someone who wrestles or UFCs or something like that. Of course, most moms are warriors anyways, just because of the blur of fucking being a mom, right? It's just an absolute fucking blur. My wife and I don't have kids. We tried, but we kind of met each other late. And we look at people who have 2 or 3 kids in wide astonishment because they seem absolutely overwhelmed, exhausted. They seem very happy. We wish we had kids. We're actually godparents to several kids. I know that seems impossible. We're only legal godparents to 2, but we're like sort of unofficial godparents to 5 kids, something like that. So if these guys all go skydiving or get in the same plane, suddenly we're going to have a big old family. But moms are warriors, right? They all just look like they've gone through a hurricane, the hurricane of child rearing. Oh, we got one more ball here. Let's fire this shit here. I feel okay, even though I haven't done a lot positive to help this siege yet. I still feel okay because I would guess we have control over a 5th or a 4th of the units that are on the battlefield, right? So the enemy AI, or the allied AI, is on autopilot, right? They're doing their thing. Look at these guys here. They're jamming up the wall. Nobody's getting up there. So we will assist them, right? This is almost like the mercenary stage. I think this is happening because our army disbanded, right? I lost control effectively of all these guys. They're like, fuck that guy. He lost cohesion. We freelance. We do whatever we want, right? So I've got an infantry archer division there. We can leave the 6th here as well. I'm going to drag this 5, this 5th corps. Look at this shit. There are so many defenders inside this city. It's actually comical looking. Look at them zerging down there. And there's nobody at the gate. God damn it. I got to get some archers spread out here. I think we put 1 division there. Look at ours are the only guys guarding the gate. Whatever you guys do, don't fucking help. I got a mixed division right here that are shooting at him too. But of course, whatever you do, ally, don't defend the most vulnerable location. Just put 80,000 guys on the wall. Look at, they can't even get down there. There's a giant traffic jam. Let's send some guys down there, even though it's going to add to the traffic jam. Eventually, they'll make their way down there, and we'll charge with this 4th division. Hopefully what that does is it kind of jams up the gate so they can't pour through it. I've got a square there already. Between those two, it should be pretty effective. Look at this fucking traffic jam. These fucks are just absolutely clogged up. I mean, I don't even want to stand in it. It feels like rush hour. I've said it before. I fucking hate crowds. I know I'm part of a crowd, right? I'm just one of the 8 billion over fucking populated humans on the planet. But this kind of shit drives me crazy. Look at this fucking traffic jam. I mean, nobody can move. Nobody can move. The good thing is our guys are pouring out the gate here. It's like the enemy gave up the attack at the gate. So we'll pull back here. But it reminds me of the Bill Burr skit. Hopefully I don't get sued by him. He's trying to, we're making like $12 an episode. Hopefully he's not going to sue me for royalties if I mention his name or mention the joke. But he has a hilarious joke where he sees like a family picture at somebody's house and there's, 3 generations and like 65 people. And they're like, isn't it nice? I got this big family. We had 5 kids each, and they had each 5 kids. Isn't it a beautiful family? And of course, I'm just imitating Bill Burr here. And Bill Burr goes, no, it's nice at all. He said, I don't recognize anybody in that picture. You guys haven't done shit. That's just 60 people that's taking a shit that's ending up in the river every day. It's an ecological disaster, and you fucking framed it. And of course, his corollary is that most of us are just dudes living out our life, polluting and eating and fucking, using petroleum fuel. And I can't say he's wrong, but of course, that's what the superior species is always done on Earth, right? I listened to a really good podcast by a really smart biologist saying you can dislike it from an environmental standpoint, but we're also doing exactly what every single other organism on the planet tries to do, and that is breed endlessly to the expansion, to the capability of their limit, right? And of course, nothing's really going to stop us, probably, except maybe disease or nuclear weapons. Stupid fucks fighting. There's certainly no animal and no food issues anymore, right? For you college students and guys who've studied it, the whole Malthusian, we're going to starve ourselves, like population is geometric and there's not enough food, and the population keeps going up and our ability to produce food only goes up so slowly. Of course, that's been basically disproven, right? Thomas Malthus was a sociologist or whatever you want to call him from the 18th century, and he believed that it was inevitable, that there was just going to be constant disaster and famine for humankind, just because of our condition. And he's been proven wrong, right? Thanks to petrochemicals and fucking GMO corn, we can feed everybody. May not be feeding them well, but we can definitely feed them all. So these motherfuckers are jammed up hard over here. And I don't know, we're in kind of like a lull here. The enemy doesn't want to seem to come through the main gate. We've got good defensive positioning. We don't have a lot of guys over here, so I'm going to pull an infantry division. I think I'll stick them like right in this doorway and protect all these archers. But I kind of feel like I don't have a job, right? The AI is over here working. It's got like 150 archers on the walls. We've got some archers on the walls. And the enemy, for whatever reason, is not going through the gate. I mean, we have a massive amount of defenders in the gate, and that courtyard would be a slaughter pen if they did get in there. I mean, look at the archer setup we have. Look at all the infantry. I can back our guys up, in fact, because there's some archers in that division. They're not getting through there. I mean, that's just zero chance. Not to mention the whole time they charge this way, they're getting enfilade fire. I really haven't defended the city very much, but it's really interesting. I would say this is much more defendable than I thought. Like, on the surface, it looks difficult to defend, right? There's all these bizarre angles, and it's difficult to get troops on the ground that can support the walls. But I'm looking at this right now from the enemy. They can't get in. They can't enter this city. And if they do, they're going to get mauled anywhere they go. If they come that side, we'll just block up that gate, block up that tower, rather, and smoke them with arrows, right? We've got these secondary defenses. This is pretty nasty. And the death spam says it all, right? It's just a fucking flush of green. The only kills they're getting are probably the guys that are like right there at the siege tower. They're kind of fighting 5-on-5 here. But they're also, this is part of the problem. They've got like 900 units all jammed up over here. Their archers are just happy sort of jousting. They're not going to win jousting with how many archers we have on this siege. You guys hear me talk all the time about you want to avoid putting archers on the walls. There's a caveat to that, and that is if you have maybe an equal number of archers as the enemy, or maybe 70% of archers as the enemy. So if it seems like they have 200 and you have 140, you're okay on the walls, right? Because your guys have cover, they have elevation. It's where you're outnumbered badly. Say it's 300 Battanian Fiend Champion archers and you have 60 archers. Get those fucking guys off the walls, right? They have no chance. I'm actually going to go explore out here. The gate is completely covered. There's literally 150 guys holding the gate. The enemy can't get in there for sure. They're all jammed up over here. You know what they got going on here? We got a reverse slope defense. Unintentionally, their crossbow are not visible. You see how I can't see them right now? I mean, I can go fly in there and give these guys some terror, but I think we're going to attack their infantry on this ladder. These little sallies here are sometimes necessary so these sieges don't take 45 minutes. I'm going to bring 4 or 5, maybe I'll bring all the divisions out. We've got so many defenders at the gate, I don't have to worry about leaving defenders inside the city. We can essentially just have a full-scale sally here and terrorize the enemy. And critically, their crossbow won't be able to help, at least not initially. 682 infantry on that side over there, and we're going to give it a beating. Hello, archers. Welcome to the party, bitches. That was like a terrorist attack. All of a sudden, this flying horse just fucking crashes through your ranks, kills 3 of your guys, and then 2 seconds later, it darts off in a bolt of silver. All right, let's get archers spread out here. I'm going to divide my infantry. I want at least 3 infantry divisions, an attacking division, 2 squares, and a shield wall. I might even make a 4th. I don't have full infantry division, so I can't really do this exactly how I want, but we're going to really extend our archers here and try to get them to attack us. I want them to attack. Don't forget, we have all of this archer support on the walls, right? There's like 80 to 100 archers on the walls overlooking us here. So if it gets really bad, we will pull back, right? If they start to swarm us with hundreds of infantry, we'll simply run into the gate. Look at these fucks running back and forth over here. Welcome to the party, bitches. There's some Battanian Fiend champs over here getting smoked. And those guys can't see us. That's a vital part of this. I would not do this if their crossbow could see us right now. We'll see if they adjust. Look at how savage this is going to be. All of these archers are getting enfilade fire on their infantry. These guys are fucked. They're doomed no matter what. But the only thing they can do is rout. If they stay here, they're all dead. Here's what's going to happen, right? Okay, they are starting to charge. We're going to start to kite now and form squares, right? We're going to be able to use all the archers on the wall here. Oh shit, that's a lot. Okay, good. We welcome the challenge. I still have more troops behind this. Don't forget, I think I entered with like 200 and something troops. Actually, this might be all our troops, so I can't get too crazy with it, but we still have other troops inside the castle here. Even if 20 of us got inside, this castle would still be ours. This is going to be a little sign of Cole, right? I still need a better name for him. I'll run this guy over here. Fucking, you're dead. Let's pull these squares back here. But Cole is aggressive, right? Not aggressive like a murderer like Rua. He's smart aggressive. And of course, you know, we're role-playing here, of course. But basically, his personality is going to be, I guess, scheming, right? He's shrewd is another word for it. He's street smart, but he also has a strategic, calculating mind, right? He's going to be making these calculated attacks that, of course, with some good tactics here, we're gonna do some savage shit to the enemy here. Establish a little reputation. That Cole is, just a battlefield mastermind. Now I can get basically a kill box set up in this courtyard, and the enemy has to charge one of our two sides, and whichever side they charge will simply kite. I mean, the enemy's in a checkmate situation here. Now, their infantry's doing a decent job on ours, right? Shit, those are archers. Sorry, fellas. I forgot the 5th Corps. Sometimes I forget the 5th, right? The span of control, you don't always remember them, right? The square is just holding out, and they're getting scorched by flaming arrows. It's a picturesque scene. Over here, they're sending drips and drabs. They have no chance here, though. Oh, hey, that's a lurer. He's already got like 3 arrows in him. Let's have a one-on-one here. Come get it, bitch. It's almost like he wanted it. Oh, motherfucker. Die. Foeman fucking dropped. And appropriately, it feels epic, right? These lords are not going down with 1 hit. That was 3 hits. Finally killed him with a hammer shot to the head with the axe. I mean, these guys are going to be savage. And he speared me. I didn't see how much he did, but it was a good spear shot. The ones who have axes are the ones that terrify me. The Batanians and the Sturgeons. Those guys are going to be like one-shotting companions. That's a little bit terrifying. All right, let's kite with our infantry here. Right back into the teeth of all these archers. The 3rd Corps over there in a square. We're surrounded by archers on the wall, so you can just see the flaming bolts coming from over our head. A lot of those are coming from the walls, right? The enemy's being completely lit on fire here. Now, they're doing some damage, right? This is, we probably could have just packed it in and sat in the courtyard of this city until the battle was over. But what's the fun in that, right? We're playing this for fun. I'm not worried about losing 20 or 30 guys here, especially in what is going to be a really cool brawl here against all their forces. They're bringing up significant waves, and Cole is getting on foot, right? He wants some fucking blood. He wants to be in the trenches with his men. He wants to kick some guys and cut some fucking Vlandians down here. Still got half my health. I just glanced down, and Cole has really good armor now, right? That would have like killed him a couple, 3 episodes ago. Now he's got some higher end armor. It's not maxed yet, but with his athleticism, he's going to be able to handle this kind of assault. And now I'm just running for my life, of course, but these archers are strafing anybody chasing me, right? In fact, they immediately change their attention to the archers. Death for them. The Vlandians are being shredded here. And this was checkmate. Like I said, as soon as I ran out and saw the situation, that's why I committed to this. You could just see that this is doom for the Vlandians. The only thing like a player could do in this situation is charge with like 900 troops, 1,200 troops, and of course we just go back into the gate. There's nothing the enemy could do here except get cut down like that guy. Bring more dead fucks. You guys are all dead. I mean, they're getting shot from the walls. It's fucking beautiful. Siege is definitely one of the best parts of Bannerlord. I mean, Bannerlord, the combat is outstanding, but Siege in particular, it just feels so visceral. It's such a primal thing to have you and your men and some strong walls and some angles for your archers to shoot, and then a big axe, right? It's just so fucking primal. Cutting down Banner Knights. Come get some. It's almost time to get offensive here. And almost as soon as I said that, they're fucking running. Kill these bitches. Run them down. That was fucking fun. And hopefully that's entertaining to watch. I haven't looked down for a while. I think this is going to be a long episode. Hopefully you guys are game with that, right? I know these episodes are approaching an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. I will try never to exceed an hour and a half. We gain a little. I'm not going to farm too much here at the end. Oh, shit. It's almost like they changed their mind. These motherfuckers are attacking. That's not defensive behavior. You guys can all catch some of the axe, motherfucker. Anybody else want some? And they've changed their mind again. Fucking victory here. I think this is good. I think this Vlandian escapades here, this devastating counter punch by Cole here, this is the exclamation point, right? You fucking Vlandians invade all the way to what did they, I guess they got to Poros, these motherfuckers. I never saw them siege Vostrum, but that's pretty far east for Vlandia, right? They actually attacked us way almost near, I'm getting my city names confused. Let's see, near Onira, right? We got crushed actually at Corania Castle or something like that. One of the castles almost in Khazate territory. And Cole racks up skill points here, and we devastated the Vlandians in this campaign, right? This is a little mini campaign, of course. I will talk more about that campaign strategy. I'm probably gonna spare you this part here, right? I'm gonna sell a bunch of these prisoners. We really need money, and of course I can go to the little ransom guy there and sell all those guys, but I will probably spare you that. No good loot at all, man. I mean, against 3,000 Vlandians, and we get fucking bits and pieces here. But the Vlandians really were being a major problem in this campaign, and you know, Mata and everybody else had a hard time dealing with them. This is Thoman. This is the guy I battled. Look at this guy's stats. What a beast. And Cole just put these guys to bed, right? This was like a fucking knockout punch by a heavyweight boxer. I think I'll spare you guys this part here. Yeah, let's not fiddle too much with perks. I'm trying to do those all at the same time instead of doing it scattershot. And speaking of scattershot, our army is scattershot here because I kind of butchered that. A lot of those guys have less than 40% of their maximum capacity of troops, so I can't re-add them. The good thing is that they will bolster the center of the map. Now, of course, things are going badly at home without us. Tamnu Castle's under siege. That's probably the Southern Empire attacking there. We're going to head home, hit towns all along the way, and add food, horses, tools, any kind of good weapons we can buy, because independence is not that far off. Oh, Kulharn joined the party. This is Wazoo's third son, and I think I'm gearing this guy up to be a scout, right? We need a scout, a professional scout for the party. So I think probably a two-handed sword or a glaive. I think we can give this guy better arrows. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time here, but just give him some basic stuff here. And we're gonna plan on making this guy a scout. In fact, we give him a glaive. Where's my glaive? We can have this guy spec both two-handed sword and a glaive. That way he boosts all of the units that are going to be in his party, right? Bow, glaive, and two-handed weapons. And his perks, we're going to assign him lots of points to scouting, so cunning, but also plenty of combat ability too, right? And this guy will be a dedicated scout, although we'll definitely send him out there in the world to get some of his auxiliary skills leveled up. So recruiting troops all the way home, buying every fucking bun and grain and fucking piece of food all the way home because we need it to become independent. And I hit every single town. We got to get home. Everything is under siege. It's a mess. Oh shit. The Northern Empire is no more. So I haven't experienced this very often in my campaigns, right? In my little, I guess you call it Bannerlord career or whatever. I've played a lot, and that doesn't happen very often. So what happens to these guys? Do they just go away, or maybe their clans? I mean, Lucan's dead, but maybe their clans become independent? Do they just become free agents? I mean, his wife, man, she's powerful too. Look at that shit, 476 steward skill. You know, I think these clans are free agents, so they can just join whatever kingdoms who pay them, or I'm not sure how that works. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting development. We're going to be our own clan here before too long. I've thought about doing it. Of course, we're sieging Khazate here, even though our whole homeland is on fire. Let's siege Khazate. Let's bore into the Khazates here, fellas. This is great. Terrific strategy. God, these guys, you just want to bitch slap them sometime. Let's see this. We got a healer here. Oh shit, she's tall. We'll take another healer. We're at our max, but I'm going to go through every town, recruit all the troops, buy all the food, tools, and nice equipment, because we're going to need it. Once we become our own kingdom, we're going to be assailed. It's going to be a big challenge, and we're going to want to have the potential to recover if we're captured, right? You need the extra food, horses. We're going to store it all in Danustica, and maybe one other city as a backup emergency citadel, but I'm also going to do this. I'm reticent to do this, right? We're going to I'm really reticent to sort of drag you guys through this part of the game where you're just selling loot and pouring all your equipment on the table at the local merchant's place and saying, here, how much? You know, take it all. And I hate hitting that button that sells everything because sometimes it sells elite equipment. So we'll do this kind of quick from time to time. And I can tell you, we are going to become independent soon, but I'm not going to tell you guys when it's going to happen, right? Just like the rest of the campaign, I want a little bit of suspense. And there's some chance, actually, that we stream our independence, right? That when we declare ourselves our own kingdom, that I do that live. That would be a fun way to do it. Look at this shit. Zeonica being defended by Mahir army. That's not good, right? That's those guys sieging there. What do you think's going to happen on that screen in the lower right or lower left-hand corner, right? A bunch of orange, right? And almost on cue, these dipshits get captured by the Khazate. They couldn't defend the homeland, right? Whatever you guys do, you just go ahead and get fucking destroyed while the rest of our castles are on fire and shit, being sieged all the way up and down. It really is like we're being dragged to the north by a magnetic compass. The Aserai seem obsessed with fighting their way towards the north. And meanwhile, this other army is just bouncing around like a Roomba with no direction at all. But we put a dent here, right? 3 cities we added. We added Poros to our personal collection. I think we have 3 castles now in 2 cities. Tamnu Castle's definitely going to fall. But we're going to become our own kingdom soon. So a bungling Aserai force here doesn't really mean that much to us, right? We're going to build up some cash. I'd like a little bit more resources here, a few more troops. And when the moment is right, we're going to strike, right? I'm not going to tell you guys when that's going to happen. Of course, the Southern Empire taking castles down there. It's just going to be, you know, a devious, nasty thing. We're not just going to carelessly do it, right? We're going to put a lot of thought into it. So I think I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm over an hour now. The homeland, we've got to get back to the homeland. It's a fucking mess. But again, we may stream that. We may stream the independence. We shall see. We'll see if I have time. My wife and I are very busy these days. Speaking of busy, of course, you want to subscribe if you want to see more, fellas. And with that said, I will see you guys next time.